but before we get started, well, we'd have the chair call for order, but the chair's not here yet, so I guess I'll be calling the meeting to order. Do we need to start off with roll call? I don't know if you want to go ahead and do that. Joy?
Yes, I can do that. Can you hear me? Okay. So if I call your name, just let me know, say present or just say you're here. First on the list is Adrian Livingston,
Here.
Maricela Ortega Guzman, Diana Rojas, Santana May, Janelle Theobald,
Here.
Liz Thorne, and Kiwi Wilson. Okay, I think that's it. I'll pass it back to you, Abe.
I'm gonna go ahead and kind of move on with what's on the agenda. The first part was going to be member and staff introductions, and we were going to introduce some new attendees, but unfortunately, due to some other circumstances, they weren't able to attend this meeting. I know one of them I think had to do with graduation coming up, and there are some other circumstances. But the idea was kind of just welcome them and get to know who they were going to be, possible future members, committee members for the youth committee.
Abe, can I say a thing or two?
Oh, no, please.
Just, even though in their absence, Brian Detman, Youth Development Division Director for the record, thanks Abraham and Joy and Melissa, and all the staffing work, Janelle and Adrian. We appreciate your being here. I think we won't try to keep you too long. You'll get some time back in your calendars. And, probably all sorts of end of the year things happening for young people and for just everyone in some respects. So keeping that in mind, we do have a couple of folks who are pending appointment from the governor's office. And I think I may have said this at our last meeting, but Melissa's been working hard and we've been encouraged to have a couple of people who've applied to be full council members, and we're excited about adding them to this committee. One is named Savannah Relatos, and Savannah lives in the Salem area, has graduated from college and is working on her teaching certification, and is a member of the Siletz Nation, a citizen of the Siletz Nation, and is just excited to bring some passion around youth and tribal youth and education, academics, etc., to the table, policy. And then the other person is Alexander or Alex Johnson, who came to us through some really good outreach with the kind of foster care child welfare system, has some, I think, really awesome lived expertise. I've had a chance to talk to him, and so has Melissa and Maricela. And so excited to have him get involved. Both of those, Savannah and Alex, are up for appointment by the governor, and we've gotten word that those will be put in front of the governor this month. It's been a couple of months, but with some other transitions in the governor's office and new staff members, I think hopefully this month we'll get that finished up. But we encourage them to attend today. Savannah was out of town. Wasn't sure if I could get Alex here, but left him a message. So we did what we could to reach out and connect. And then the last person I'll say quickly, and I think, Melissa, you're going to have to help me with the name. I think it's Sobi Mejia. Sobi is a young person who also came to us through some really smart and good outreach around the child welfare foster care system. Happens to be finishing up high school, I'm pretty sure, so that you can imagine the school schedule might be getting in the way. Janelle, I know you're here, so appreciate that. But sometimes things get in the way. But Sobi, I think, will start off as a committee member, and then we'll kind of see how things progress from there, given transitions from high school to whatever's coming next for SOBI, but just hoping that we can get SOBI to engage with the committee and then kind of grow from there. So those are three names I'll mention. I'll mention the last one. I may not mention the person by name, but I'll mention that we had the privilege of coming back from the Coalition for Juvenile Justice Conference in DC and met a young adult there who is from the Oregon, Jackson County area, who were just starting some conversations about the potential for joining the council and hopefully the youth committee, but who's got some great also lived experience and perspective, is more in the Southern Oregon area, is working, if I'm not mistaken, at the Jackson County Juvenile Department. So we'll have some conversations with that person and hope to get them to, if not at least join the committee, if not the broader, put in an application to join the council. And I was just in touch with that person, but I think work responsibilities are such that they couldn't join today's meeting. So we've got some exciting candidates, just trying to make everything happen and couldn't do it all for today's meeting. But there's a bit of an update. How about that around members and so on?
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah.
What I'll move on to now is kind of the status updates from the last meeting, things we were working on. And on there, you'll see we're talking about, it says transportation, logistics, and compensation. And these were things that were brought up early during one of our early brainstorms that the youth voiced as something that they wanted to be kind of addressed. And I think we're at that place now where we've been able to address these exact issues in regards to being able to pay for transportation. Right, youth being able to go ahead and have access to that information, knowing that they're here. Other things right now that we're still we'll have to continue to work on is logistics. There are some challenges currently today. We just ran into a little bit of a challenge in regards to being able to connect, and also other challenges here that we have currently with accessing the technology. So that's kind of where we're at with that, with transportation, logistics, and the compensation of making sure our youth are properly compensated. So it's an ongoing project, but we're already headed in the right direction, I think. The development of the youth interest form that was developed and created. Currently, I was able to make the edits that were requested, but for now, I think we're going to put a little bit on the back burner, just because right now I think we're still trying to do. There's some other things. Maricela just walked in. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, in regards to kind of the onboarding process and kind of thinking of it more holistically and adding more than just kind of, okay, an interest form, but more information and background onto what that'll look like. So it's going to still be an ongoing project that we'll be tackling with the youth committee. And another thing also that was also voiced in the brainstorm was this idea of relationship building and informal gatherings. And really we're creating that space where a youth can get to know not only each other, the youth committee members, but also fellow council members, and feel that they do know each other. That way they feel comfortable being in that space and talking during the council meetings, committee meetings, whatever it may be. Right. And as well as also kind of a value add for our youth, I think, when they are able to get to know not only themselves, but also the council members in this other way that isn't so formal, I think, that sometimes the council meetings may come across as. So that's something I think that's still kind of on the work in progress, if you will. And I think, this kind of leads me on to kind of this next kind of bullet. And if you want to add anything at any time, Maricela, I know we don't have a physical agenda, but
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to move over there closer or whatever works. Yeah.
I almost didn't come in person because the traffic was horrendous. But yeah, I don't think I have anything to add. I'll just jump in wherever. Is Sobi on the call? No. So I met with Sobi yesterday, and I just want to share that she's super excited about joining the council. I know that's an agenda item. She can't be here today just because she is this is her last week of high school, and she's doing all the senior things today. And so I just let her know that I would relay that to the team, and like moving forward, she wants to participate in any way that she can. So that's exciting.
We're just we're on the second bullet right now, kind of talking about actually the third bullet, really in regards to the youth council session. Sorry. So we have this idea that we're going to be presenting, I think, to the youth in regards to them really overseeing and coordinating one of our council sessions, the larger youth council, right? The idea was in this meeting to sit down and discuss with them this idea and begin work on what that could possibly look like. That's kind of what we were hoping to do today and get the ball rolling. But I don't know that we'll be able to get started with, I think Janelle is the only one right now of our youth that's on the meeting. So I think we may have to wait till possibly the next meeting to kind of start get the ball rolling on that, unfortunately. But the idea again behind that is have a youth-led council meeting. They decide what's going to be discussed and or what activity is going to take place. I don't know if you want to speak a little bit too about it, Marisela.
I'll just say, and sorry if you guys can't see us, I'll just say I'm really excited to have, well, first of all, Brian and I talked about this, and we had discussed this, I think, during the retreat, involving or inviting youth to our meetings. And then we discussed, kind of tailoring the agenda to them. And then that's where the light bulb came in. We're like, how about we have youth lead the meeting, and help with the creation of the agenda and all of that. And I think it's a really exciting opportunity to kind of encourage our youth to just lead in this space and talk about issues that they're really passionate about. Again, like it's not something that we can do regularly just because I think it is a heavy lift for our youth. But we're really excited to at least have like a youth-led meeting annually. Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions or comments about that?
I just think that's a great idea. That's awesome.
Thanks, Adrian.
I was hoping you'd weigh in, Adrian. I don't know, Janelle, any thoughts?
But
Janelle, are you on mute? I mean, because Janelle, we're gonna have you. You're
Oh,
gonna be the
sorry.
main-
Hi,
There
thank you.
goes.
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, I think that's a really great idea. I mean, could be a valuable experience just to kind of see like what's going on behind the scenes.
I think it'll be valuable. I think being able to be in that space, but you're as a youth, you'll decide kind of what we want to happen. I think, and there'll also be an opportunity, I think, to do some of the things we've talked about in the past in regards to being building the relationships and getting to know you and you getting to know the council members as well. The youth and the council members getting to know each other, like I talked about earlier. So I think it'd be a great opportunity.
Abe, can I also throw out, or it's a question? So appreciate Janelle, Maricela, Adrian. At one of our council meetings, we talked about whether or not we needed, whether the need to maybe have more time, and I know people's schedules are busy, right? But our thought is that we would have this meeting perhaps happen in not one of our quarterly meeting slots, which this coming fall would be September and December, but in a fifth meeting slot that we create, which actually we have in our kind of procedures and bylaws a space to do a retreat. So we were thinking, if y'all will recall, we had our planning retreat in November, that perhaps we then, similar to last fall, we organize or plan for a planning retreat. It doesn't necessarily have to be 2 days. It could be one day, one afternoon, something, again, sensitive to people's school and work schedules. So I wonder if y'all have any thoughts about a late November, again, council meeting, but it would basically be a fifth meeting that we would do in between the September and December quarterly meetings, where we'd probably do a little more business. I think having a fifth meeting might allow us a little more time and space. What do y'all think about that?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good idea. And I think like late November would, I guess, just like give us time to prepare, since I don't think any of us have like run any meetings before.
Thanks, Sinead.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a great idea. And just going back to having the youth lead it, I just think as we are helping to develop them as citizens, they're just getting that experience on, on the beginning of how they're preparing as adults. So I just love that it's equipping them in another way.
Thanks, Adrian. And I'm just gonna, since I got this audience, Abe, I'll just throw out what about, and hey, people have families and commitments, but would a weekday be good or better? Would an evening, would a weekend? I mean, trying to be sensitive to schedules. Do people have thoughts? Not committing to anything, but on actual day of the week?
Personally, I think Saturday works best for me.
And I'm thinking for student schedules is probably better on a weekend.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and we'd have to figure out some logistics of staff and time, and but like we gotta, if we're gonna be a youth-led meeting, let's think about some of these logistics. So that's good feedback. Thanks. I don't know, Maricela, if you two have any thoughts, but thank y'all.
Yeah, I would just say I think I'd probably like to like check in with each youth just to see what their preferences are. I'm not opposed to a weekend or even Friday, which has worked well in the past. The only thing I'd be weary about is I wouldn't want to put it at like the end of the day, at the end of the workday, just because I want people to go to that meeting refreshed and excited to, learn from our youth and listen. And so for that reason, I would ask if we do it during the weekday, that we would do it like earlier, whether that be like late morning, early afternoon, something like that.
There are always those rare few grading days, but I don't really think those would work because they're like different between every district.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, as I was saying that, I was like, wait, they're in school. So that's probably not a good idea. And that's why we did these meetings later so that folks could join after school. But again, like going back to the first suggestion, I would like to like check in with everyone to see what their preferences are and try to accommodate those as much as we can.
Make sure we take into account also university finals week and dead week.
Mhm.
That's something else to take into account.
That's good, Abe. Yeah. Melissa, your survey idea sounds like smart too.
If there's anything else in regards to, I mean, and the also the other thing is making time, I think, in the next committee meeting, and partly even now, I think, around some ideas and guidance, because I think like Adrian said in regards to the youth having the experience of running the meeting, but I think we need to work with them and make time to say, hey, we want you to, if you want, this is your meeting, your space in a sense, right? You're leading it, right? But they also need, I think, some ideas and points of reference. What's the scope, right? And having those conversations with them. and then say, well, I want to do this, or I think we should do that, or I want to explore this topic more so in detail, and being able to help them facilitate. I think that's something where I think we'll be able to come in and help with that. I think we'll have to work with the committee in the next meeting, and this will be ongoing discussion. And because we're looking at, we said between September and December, right? Just kind of thinking out loud the time frame, because we'll also have the next. When would I know we have a next council meeting next week, but when's the next one after that? Do we know? Oh, there it is. All right. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So we may have to meet more often with the youth committee meeting, I think. That's something we'll have to take into account so we can make this happen, and probably virtually and probably in person. I think I wouldn't mind doing it in person, even if it was an informal meeting of the youth committee members. So we'll talk about that and get that going.
Well, and Abe, I'll say this,
Mhm.
this, you know, not a secret, but our chair, Maricela, who's there, and we deeply appreciate, her term is coming up, like ending at the end of the calendar year, if I'm not mistaken. And as somebody who's made such incredible contributions to the council and started as a younger member, although Melissa had helped me to understand, like, once a youth member, always a youth member. So even though you may have, like, you know, Maricela, just, you know, had your 27th birthday or 28th birthday, you once a youth, always a youth. I think in my mind there was some hope to try to have the meeting happen before the end of Maricela's term ends. And Maricela, happy to like explore this offline. It feels like this is something we don't want to prematurely rush. So again, Maricela, I'm not trying to put you on the spot or put you on blast, but like if it went into 2025, or if we needed a certain number of meetings in order to really have this come together the way we want it, I wonder if we could call you back into that space to be a part of that gathering, you know, rather than force it, if you will, in order to make it happen. I mean, by November seems like a good number of months and so on, but you know, think time goes fast. So I don't know, Mars, if you have any perspective on yourself, let us know. But no, I'm not trying to put pressure on you, but that was part of the conversation you and I had about, like, hey, this is such a like a coming together of an important dream, but I don't also want to feel like we're rushing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm will still be around, although I won't be as active on the council, but happy to help in any way that I can. I think however, I do think that November is a good date, maybe even late November. And I think we should be able to get this organized and all that by then. But like Abe said, we're gonna have to probably add I like doing individual check-ins with folks, and I feel like we've been more successful doing that. And then also coming together as a group, but making sure that like we, you know, have an idea before doing that so that we're as productive as we need to be. But yeah, I'm still around.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead and move on to the next agenda item in regards to recognizing a youth member. Actually, unfortunately, the youth member is not here, but it was Andy. It's going to be his last meeting for the youth committee, is my understanding. So, but unfortunately, he's not here. Just wanted to kind of say it's a big thank you to him for his help, and you know, being there despite all the logistical challenges through COVID and before that, and everything he brought to the table, you know, is very much appreciated. And his participation, I think it's going to be missed, honestly. and everything he brought to the table was really great.
Hey, Abe, again, Brian Detman here. Thanks for that. I'll just say that I did have a chance to connect with Carlos, the deputy director at OIA, and he's been able to have some good conversations with Andy, who's going to be transitioning out of OIA to kind of the next place custody wise. But yeah, just incredible contributions, and hopefully we'll cross our fingers. We'll do our best to try to get him at the YDC meeting next Thursday. Hopefully our partners there at OIA can help us make that happen, so we could recognize him maybe there, Abe, Abraham. So just we'll keep that in mind as we plan for next week.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of open up the floor for any comments, if anybody has anything or anything they'd like to add. Do we have any public comment, Joy, by any chance? No. Well, with that, I'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Actually, I can't adjourn the meeting. I'll have,
Oh, no. Oh, okay.
yeah.
Thank you all for your time today. Yeah, it's a sunny Friday. People are out and about. So, yeah, I think we have oh, yay.
That's
So
it. That's
beautiful.
why I was
Oh,
off camera, so
wow.
you didn't see me walking. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Good to see you. Thank you for, chiming in and coming to our meeting, both you and Janelle. Yeah, I think we have some work to do, and I'm really excited to, keep our youth engaged and get some more youth onboarded. We had some really great meetings. I don't know if Abraham already talked about that. But yeah, I think we're moving along. So with that, I'll just adjourn the meeting, and we'll see you all next week. Thank
See you
you.
then. Bye. Have a great weekend.